the Independence for St. Martin Foundation representatives to once more discuss the all-important issue of calling for a constitutional referendum on behalf of the people of St. Martin. A referendum which is the most direct and important way in which the people, any people, can inform and instruct their representatives of their demands, goals, and aspirations for their nation. A referendum in our St. Martin's case is nothing more or nothing less than the people of St. Martin determining the direction, making a decision in which way they want St. Martin to go constitutionally in the future. St. Martin people, in fact, have a great deal of experience in participating in constitutional referendums. A referendum called by your parliament, which according to St. Martin's basic laws, you are the only authorized body to call a referendum, will be the third referendum that the people of St. Martin will take part in. The first was organized by the government of the then Netherlands Antilles in 1994. The second referendum by the government of St. Martin in 2000, just 6 years after the first. And should your parliament place the future decision of the nation in the hands of the people of St. Martin by authorizing a third referendum during your term in Parliament, this referendum will take place no less than 23 years after the first and 17 years after the second referendum. It should also be stated that this is the fourth appearance of the representatives of the Independence for St. Martin Foundation presenting the case for a constitutional referendum before your distinguished body. Our first appearance took place 1 year ago, followed by appearances in September, January, and March. The foundation members, during our appearances, the foundation members received directives, suggestions, opinions, and questions from your members, which we greatly appreciated and acted upon where possible. Before turning my presentation to our next speaker, I would like to emphasize that the referendum to determine the constitutional future of St. Martin is nothing more than the St. Martin people deciding, making a decision in which way they want St. Martin to go. It is nothing more, for example, than any St. Martin successful high school student making a decision, a referendum, to go to the US to study to become a rocket scientist. Making the decision does not make him or her a rocket scientist. He or she will still have to study for many years and graduate before he or she becomes a rocket scientist. Likewise, a referendum decision in which St. Martin people decide, vote in favor of independence does not make St. Martin independent. To take the position that St. Martin people are not mature, prepared at this time to make an intelligent decision in which direction the nation should go is to reduce the St. Martin people to an immature, childlike people and to insult the intelligence of thousands of St. Martin University graduates living and working on our beloved island. A referendum, in closing, is not about an independent St. Martin. The referendum is about St. Martin making the decision, setting the goal to become independent. I thank you, Madam Chair, and with your permission, I would like to give the word on behalf of the Independence Foundation to Denisha Dizon, a St. Martiner who was just 4 years old during the first referendum in 1994 and 10 years old during the second referendum in 2000. Thank you.
Did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000 guineas really easy. Island Finance. For education, yes. A renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
I need to remind the public of this, that we also have our car raffle, which is the following day, June 18th. We'll be drawing that live on television at 6 p.m. It's a collaboration that the Lions Club is doing with the Harbor Group, and we're going green. It's a beautiful car that we have, and tickets are on sale right now. Members of the public, along with the bingo, they can pick up tickets at the Van Dorp in Madam Estate. You can also pick up tickets at Big D's Photo Studio, and also at the Lions Den on Sucker Garden Road, at the ASA office, or any Lion member. And when you see a Lion member, you know they are a Lion member. They always have tickets on them. You can ask them for tickets either for the Mother's Day Bingo on June 17th or the Father's Day car raffle on June 18th. And the Lions will be selling tickets every Saturday from now until June 17th at the Lions Den. You can pull up with your car and the Lions will be outside, and you can pay your little $10 and you can pick up your tickets for either the Mother's Day Bingo or the Father's Day car raffle.
Has GB upgraded its policies now to reflect transparency and good corporate governance? You know, that has been a key word around St. Martin, especially over the last 2 years. And I want to know if your standards and your policies have been changed or have been updated for that. Does GB have a bidding policy for goods and services? And then the question would be, can we have an overview of the points that I just brought up forward? Then the question would be, how much has GB paid in concession fees over the last 5 years? How much has GB paid in dividends over the last 5 years? How much has GB paid in social premiums over the last 5 years? How much does GB, or how much actually does the government of St. Martin owe to GB in water and electricity bills? Does the water entity still owe GB for the long-term losses? If not, how were these covered over the last few years? Does GB still subsidize the water company via a reduced electricity price? Is it the intention for GB to buy out the present water contract from 7 Cs? What loans does GB still have outstanding? What are the interest rates? And what is the term of those loans itself? I've seen also in the presentation that you mentioned several projects. Then the next question would be, why does GB not talk with the local institutions here on St. Martin, for example, the Alchemain Pension Funds of St. Martin and the SZV, to take over the loans or to even look for new loans for GB? This way then, at least the money stay on St. Martin. Does GB have a present fuel contract for the supply of light fuel and heavy fuel? If you do have a fuel contract, when will that expire? And then the question would be also, would a bid be initiated for a new fuel contract? GB has an old plan, I believe, nearly more than probably 10 years old, or more, maybe 15 years old, about building fuel tanks on her properties down in KB. I did not see that in the presentation. Is this plan still at least in the books of GB, and why has this plan never been carried out? What are the plans for future storage of fuel? You also mentioned the fact of LNG, and now if I am not mistaken, LNG comes in here in a different form, and then you have to regasify that LNG. It is a considerable amount of property that probably would be used. So has that been taken into account? Does GB have a lubricant contract? When does the lubricant contract expire? And will again a bid be initiated for a new lubricant contract? GB, again, I don't want to pound on GB, but over the last few months, or probably more in the later part of last year, had some serious challenges with keeping the power on. Again, what are the plans to address this with regards to additional production units? You mentioned in your presentation that you're looking to buy a new unit. I did not see in the presentation the size of that unit, so I could be mistaken, but what would be the capacity of the new engine that would come online? What are the plans to address the areas with distribution challenges? I saw several areas you're building water plants or looking to build water plants, water tanks. When would those more or less come online? Then customers throughout the island, when the power goes off and it comes back on, you have serious issues with, let's call it, unregulated power surges that damages appliances and especially electronic equipment. The question would be, why wouldn't GB not install power regulators at the area of the meters or supply that to homes to avoid damages to the consumers? I think this would also be a good initiative in addition to your customer care card, so we don't have to use the help desk too often when our electrical appliances are blown. It might be a nice idea to look at. Is that possible, yes or no? I was going to ask the question about the water losses. You have addressed that. The question then would be, since you've shown, and my congratulations on that, because that has been a serious issue for many years, you dropped the water losses from 40% to 19%. Now, when you do that, your water rates or electrical rates are actually also controlled by that of government. By reducing water losses from 40 to 19%, that is a drastic reduction of 21%. That means that the savings of those water losses are now held in by the company. It would mean that government should relook then at the price of the water rates, and that would probably mean that we can see forward a reduction in water prices to the consumers of St. Martin, because actually the costs have gone down. Please, if I am wrong, please address that as well. Then you also mentioned the fact
that your water meters are very accurate. Again, that has also meant an increased cost to consumers. So many consumers that I have spoken to have seen sometimes an increase in their water consumption by maybe sometimes 25 to 50%. So it's actually, some consumers would look at it as an increase in cost rather than, GB being very efficient. So then again, the question would be, with these new meters, can we look at a possible water reduction as well, or water cost reduction to the consumers of St. Martin?
People all across St. Martin are switching to a more rewarding experience. The WIB MasterCard Fun Miles credit card, better known as My Card. Earn 1 Fun Mile for every $2 spent, even abroad and online. This will quickly get you a ton of Fun Miles to redeem for travel, shopping, food, fuel, and much more. But there's more to My Card. Worldwide acceptance, an EMV chip for extra security, and 250 free Fun Miles with first use. Switch to My Card today at WIB.
Fun miles, fun within your reach.
Hey guys, did you know that now with Telcel, if you accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month, you get 15 more?
15 more?
Yes, 15 more. However you want.
So I can top up $3 now, $10 next week, and so on until I reach or pass $25?
That's right. Get 15 more.
Wow! I feel like a 15 again.
Yeah. Right. Accumulate $25 or more within 1 calendar month and get 15 more. Telcel, when you want more.
If I don't need the amount of water, why am I obligated to purchase the amount of water, seeing maybe I don't need to use it? Who is taking the loss on that issue? And clarity need to be given to my person in Parliament. How does that work? Is that a contractual agreement that is iron in stone, or can we renegotiate, seeing that GB has been doing the cleanup work with the new digital meters that reduced the amount of loss from 40 to 19%? Because that one struck me very much, that on the amount of water one would have to purchase and you don't need the amount, or is it based because we don't have sufficient storage tanks, or was it at the time the agreement based on the amount of storage capacity? And now seeing we don't have the storage capacity at this time, how does that fit for GB? Also the issue of the fire hydrants. I guess GB observed those last. Would it say that GB would be able to put meters on the fire hydrants in order for us to know how much water is being used by the fire hydrants also? And then when I take a look at the amount of engines that GB have and the capacity of the amount of megawatts produced, 96 or 97 megawatt, if I'm not mistaken, but we use 57, then the question would mean, over the last months ago, why was the electricity, let's say the outage took so long to restore, or what was the issue then? Because if I look at the amount what we use in the peak and the amount capacity we have, it's almost close to 50% that we are not using in a case like that. So I think some clarity should be given to Parliament so that we too could understand how that works. And then the biggest issue for me, Madam Chair, through you, we have a renewable energy policy, I think, that GB have. And if one take a look around, the private sector seems to have been moving faster than GB can put legislation or request legislation in order to make sure that those who have gone into renewable energy, that GB would be able to monitor the amount of, I'm not sure, possibility of current going back into the grid. And then, Madam Chair, the issue, I've noticed, I've taken a drive down at the Maho area, and Maho is putting in a huge solar park. Is GB aware of that solar park? And is there an arrangement where that's concerned? Because that too could cause a significant drop for GB in their revenue base if they're not paying attention to what is taking place, because a number of homes also are using solar panels. And Madam Chair, through you, GB was supposed to, since 2010, there was a percentage, if I'm not mistaken, set at GB reaching a minimum percentage of green energy. Has GB reached that percentage? And if not, when will GB reach that percentage? Another issue again, Madam Chair, and I know the minister had that. It was a discussion at one time in the press briefing. I have the question here, but I'll make mention of it. The issue of the land on Palm Island that I think GB was requesting to build a solar parking. I guess like how Aruba has it, where you put a solar panel and you could park underneath. Madam Chair, through you to the Minister and GB, can Parliament be provided with some information where we stand with that issue?
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
I'm very happy with the work that the Department of CPS has been producing. As you know, this week we had a release where last week we had meetings about environmental health. We expect a report to be produced in terms of how the different ministries can cooperate, and in particular what the role and function of the Ministry of VSI is in terms of making sure that our environment is a healthy environment. In addition to that project, next Monday, CPS is going to be launching a mosquito squad pilot project. This is done together with my colleague in Ministry of Education. So next week, Monday morning, we're going to start by kicking off the project at the Sister Marie Lawrence School. And the idea is what we're doing is we're focusing on children in 4th grade. So that's about, age 9 to 10 about, yes? And so the idea is that we are educating them in terms of what we can do in terms of mosquito prevention, in particular around the schools. There was a study that was done where we found that around the schools, there was actually quite a high incidence of potential breeding sites around the schools themselves. And so one way of addressing it is to educate the children, and actually what we're going to do, what the ministry's working with them to do, is to produce mosquito squads, so small groups of children. And these groups within the school will change every 2 weeks, and they're going to be informed in terms of what to look for on the school sites, and also they're looking at expanding it to probably around 100 meter radius around the school. They're going to be given safety vests, educational materials, activity books, and the idea is to educate them in terms of what to look for, what the impacts of mosquitoes breeding around the school could be, and how they communicate certain diseases like Zika or chikungunya or dengue.